The topic is hot and heavy here in the city of Toronto. It looks like a slam dunk done deal that the Toronto Argos will be playing at BMO Field very, very soon. And a guy who has been a supporter of TFC since day one with the Red Patch Boys, he joins us. He is no stranger to the show. Phil Tobin. Phil, welcome.
Thanks again for having me on.
Pleasure to have you on, Phil. It looks like once again this story has reared its ugly head. You and I have discussed this in the past, but it looks like it is going to be a done deal. My stomach is turning that this is going to happen. I don't understand for the life of me, Phil, why the Argos need to play there when they're not even attracting 10,000 in a game. Your thoughts, Phil?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Argos and the CFL and their fans, but it's just unfortunate that a franchise that old doesn't have its own place to play at this point. And, it's come down to the fact that they can't make a home at the Rogers Centre, and it seems like the city and everybody are pushing them into BMO Field. It doesn't bode well for the condition of our pitch. I know we're hearing the opposite from all the people who like to say that nothing's going to change, but we all know that there's going to be some impact felt on that field, and that's a real concern for all the soccer enthusiasts in Toronto.
No, absolutely, Phil. And let's not forget that Gold Cup action is coming to BMO Field. TFC is going to play their bulk of their home games coming up in the next few weeks or so. Canada is going to play some of their games. World Cup qualifiers coming up. It's going to be a busy, busy time for the crew at BMO, and they do a great job. But I'll tell you, a couple years ago, I had a chance to speak with Dax McCarty of the New York Red Bulls, and he wasn't impressed with the pitch at that time because it was dry, and he called it a cow pasture. But I disagreed because I thought that the crew of BMO there try to do the best they can. But now with the Argos coming, Phil, to me, I have nightmares of them playing on a game against the Montreal Alouettes, as I was saying, and it's raining. And these guys are really digging in there, and clumps of grass are coming out. I think this is something that, yourself from the Red Patch Boys and all TFC supporters need to let be known to Tim Leiweke, to all TFC and MLS&E, that this could destroy the field.
Well, ever since the beginning of just even the rumors of it happening, TFC, like MLS&E, haven't run away from it, which is your biggest indicator that, obviously something's going on. And we've been very vocal about our opposition to it. We've been emailing our ticket reps. We've been, talking on Twitter and all the things that you can do, talking to the politicians who don't seem to respond to anything. And we're upset about the idea, exactly like you say, that there could be Montreal Alouettes and Toronto Argonauts playing on, let's say, a Saturday night on that pitch in the cold and the rain, and then have an important CCL qualifying match that comes up on a Tuesday or Wednesday night for TFC. I don't think there's any grounds crew in the world that can make that field look proper and play competitively for, the sport that's going to suffer is Toronto FC and soccer. And all the assurances point to the idea that, well, that product isn't going to suffer and the Argos are the secondary tenant. But it's clear whenever you put that kind of sport on the pitch with those types of athletes, it's going to have an adverse effect. And then, you can even go into the lines and all these other things that are going to be still visible and leave an impression on the field, which is not good for the sport. The sport's at this vital stage in North America in terms of growth and expansion, and this is a setback, not an advancement. And like I say, it's no offense to the CFL or the Argonauts, but it's just that pitch needs all the help it can get to be, competitive for the one sport, not just a multi-use facility for a lot of different sports.
You're bang on, Phil. Not only that, I was thinking today also of some of the other things that I think are going to take a toll on them is the locker rooms, is the facilities, not just on the field, but the locker rooms, the first aid rooms, the media room, on and on and on. I mean, we're talking football players, 6'9", 6'10", 300-400 pounder guys in there. And we're talking about soccer players that need to use the same locker rooms, a week or a few days later. I mean, these are some of the other things that need to be calculated and thought out as well.
Well, I do know that when we brought that up in the past, it was explained to me that under the new stand on the east side, there's going to be new expanded locker rooms that are dedicated towards rugby and football players. So those locker rooms are in fact separate from the plans that they're doing now. and they would be able to house, the amounts of players and the types of facilities that they would need, post game and pre game. So, like I say, it's in the cards for this facility to be expanded that way. And when we're talking about the hybrid surface that everyone's mentioning in the media, it actually is an improvement over the surface that we have now. And it's the same type of surface as used at Emirates Stadium and Manchester United, Old Trafford, and places like that. It's a really great surface, but I don't know that it's ever been tested under the kind of environmental conditions that we have here in Toronto and in the type of season that's important for us. The late fall, early winter, and that's when we're competing for a playoff spot, and potentially when the Argos are having important games at home. So those are the places that I see a lot of conflict and a lot of issue. I think the facility itself can probably be planned and mapped, and has been planned and mapped to do the things that they need to do to make it happen. It's just that surface that's really the concern.
Phil, just before we let you go, really appreciate your time. To me, there could be some concern in attracting world-class players like Jovinko, like Bradley, like Altidore here to the city of Toronto if, this takes place. They might stop and think to themselves, do I want to put myself in a situation where the field isn't ideal, where my talents aren't, showcased the best way they can because of this surface? What do you think?
I think that's a real concern for sure. When you're looking at, even as a season ticket holder, aside from the fact that I'm in a supporters group and doing that, but as a season ticket holder, I have serious concern. The minute I go down there and I see that pitch is compromised in such a way that it affects the way that our team has to play, or it starts affecting our team selection, I'm going to really have a serious concern about whether or not I'm going to continue to be a season ticket holder with Toronto FC. It's just an absolutely ridiculous proposition to force a team like that in there and expect the fan base, who's been extremely loyal through some absolutely terrible teams and terrible management systems, to put this on us when we finally have a glimmer of hope with this team. It's an insult to all the fans and all the people who support TFC. Toronto FC and MLS&E should really think long and hard about how deeply they want to go, because they stand to lose a lot of goodwill that they've earned back.